And it's time for your every 2-week Southern California real estate market update. We're here to cover Orange County, LA, Ventura, San Bernardino, Riverside, and now including San Diego by popular request. We're going to cover all the single family sales data and multifamily sales data for the first 2 weeks of August. And we're going to go through the notices of default that were filed in the month of July. We found some surprises in all the data. There's stuff we did not expect in the single family and multifamily numbers and in the notices of default. Hey there, Christian Walsh with Wire Associates. We're real estate agents based in Southern California, helping tenants and landlords and buyers and sellers in these crazy days in California and beyond. And it's time for another market update. We do these every 2 weeks because that's at least what it takes to understand what is going on in today's crazy housing market. So the data this month, is it still going up like this? Is it like this? Or is it like this? But a few important things. Join over 1,000 email newsletter subscribers by clicking the link below, and you'll be able to get access to these charts that we're going to run through, as well as a whole lot of other content that you will find handy to survive the crazy real estate market today. And remember, we can't give tax or legal advice, but for the most honest and up-to-date real estate advice, you need to subscribe to this channel. And diving into the data, I cannot believe this, not again in Orange County. Why am I saying this? I'm saying this because we have the twist between the number of properties going under contract and the number of new listings. So I thought we were done with this. You hear the national news and it sounds like market's normalizing, things are slowing. But then we run actual numbers in our area and we see that we have lack of inventory striking yet again. So you can see the new listings are down significantly, and that's when you look at year-over-year data and when you look at years past, we are way low. So the pending sales, the homes going under contract, that's up, but it's not even at a record. You can see 2017 was higher, and of course last year was higher. But because we have such a complete lack of inventory and we still have demand, we get this twist. This means crazy seller's market and lots of offers. So that, I cannot believe, I thought we were done, but we're back in it here in Orange County and we'll see if this continues. Maybe it's just a momentary blip, but this is definitely not what you're hearing in the national news. The national news is always several weeks, if not months behind, especially when you're looking at the Case-Shiller index, which is at least 2 months behind. Still very important data, but still behind. So not much has changed in LA other than we have also a record low number of listings. And we can see that the properties under contract has gone up. It's not a record high, but it's at a high level. So this is the closest I've seen the new listings and the properties going under contract in LA. So it's showing that in the first 2 weeks of August in LA, it's been a kind of a hot seller's market, maybe hotter than they've even had. Riverside, same thing, not enough listings. Where are all the sellers going? I would expect sellers would start to hit the market because we were getting to a point where inventory was stabilizing, starting to go up. But now it looks like for whatever reason, first 2 weeks of August, sellers gave up. So maybe they're done with COVID and they're off partying and vacationing. That could be it. So you can see here, similar thing in Riverside where we don't have the twist, but we have a close gap, a shrunken gap between pendings and new listings. So that means seller's market. And then in San Bernardino, it's low listings. Last year they were even lower, but it was just a few lower. So you can see that last year was a hot market in San Bernardino, and it's not too much cooler this year in San Bernardino. So another extreme seller's market. Ventura, we've been watching Ventura. It looked like things were slowing down there. We do see, again, like we saw in previous data for Ventura, there is a big drop in properties going under contract, and we're still seeing, now there's low inventory, not record low, but we're still seeing inventory come to the market. So Ventura, we need to continue to watch closely, and thank you to those who requested it, and thank you to those who thanked me for including it. But like I mentioned, there could be something in this data here, something special. We're going to keep watching to see if Ventura is a canary in a coal mine for the rest of Southern California. But demand, properties going under contract, has significantly dropped, and we've seen this now in the past few market reports. So let's keep watching Ventura. And San Diego now we've added, and we can see here that we have the twist in San Diego. We got lots of properties going under contract, a record for this time of year, and then a record low amount of inventory. So I can't believe I'm actually saying this. I thought this was over. I thought we were going to a normal market, but it looks like things are actually going to be heating up, and we're going to be back to lots of offers for single family real estate in lots of areas in Southern California. Time for the multifamily data. So this is anything 2 units and bigger in the respective counties for the 2 weeks in August going back to 2017. So you can see that we have, just like we had in single family in Orange County, everybody decided to take a break from listing properties. So I don't know where all the sellers went for multifamily as well. Again, maybe off partying, but you can see that we've got a close gap between the number of properties going under contract, new listings. So multifamily, just like single family in Orange County, crazy sellers market. So sellers, get your properties on the market. You may not get many more opportunities like this. This is the closest we've seen properties going under contract and new listings, but still a big gap in LA. They have the LA eviction moratorium, so it's tougher to evict in the case of non-payment of rent, tougher than the state eviction moratorium. So Riverside and multifamily, it looks like actually a pretty similar gap. So where we saw what looked like investors were going in previous months, going from OC and LA, and we're going out to Riverside to buy, we have an increase in listings and we have an increase in escrows, but not a record number of escrows. So long story short, this is somewhat of a balanced market right now for Riverside. San Bernardino, again, new listings down, everybody's off partying. So for properties going under contract, healthy gap between the new listings and the properties going under contract. So still a seller's market if priced right, but not an extreme seller's market. Ventura, just not as much multifamily. Tough to pull much out of the data. We see that year over year listings are cut in half, but that's 10 to 5. Those aren't big numbers. And we can see that only 2 properties went under contract. So not a lot of investors buying out in Ventura. And then, are you kidding me here? We got the twist here almost in San Diego. So Orange County and San Diego are running very similar now for single family and multifamily, where the new listings are lower and the properties going under contract are higher. So we've got a close twist here for San Diego multifamily. So this is a crazy seller's market in San Diego. So sellers, make sure you jump on. So let's dive into the notice of default data. And don't forget, the notice of default is the first stage of the foreclosure process in the state of California. It's non-judicial, don't have to go in front of a judge. The trustee actually issues these notices. So the first is a notice of default, and this gets the foreclosure process going. And this I'm shocked by, quite frankly, just as I was shocked by some of the other numbers we've run through today. The notices of default are now increasing. And just remember that the data we're covering July's data, and that's July's going back. This is not yet reflecting the end of the foreclosure moratorium in the data. That ended at the end of July. So this does not yet reflect that. So we can see that year over year, we have an increase in just about every one of the counties in Southern California that we're covering. We have an increase in the notice of default. Still historically low compared to what we traditionally have at any given point in time in a normal market. I'll show you 2011 data to show you extreme foreclosure data, but right now we're looking at more normal years of foreclosures. And the notices of default, they dropped in 2020. Essentially, the foreclosure process stopped for almost every property out there. The Fannie and Freddie backed, FHA loans, etc., those had foreclosures halted, but a lot of private lenders also halted foreclosures. So we can see the numbers dipped in 2020, and now year over year we're seeing an increase, and it's a bigger increase than I would have expected. but this is what we're going to start to see. We got to catch up for lost time. Now, some of the people I'm speaking with who are in the know on, on foreclosures think that it's not going to be 2022, and we release content on this showing that it wouldn't be, at least not the beginning of 2022, but a lot of lenders are gearing up for 2023 for a wave of foreclosures. So that's interesting to see. So comparing it to 2011, we can see that these are much smaller numbers, tiny fractions compared to 2011's numbers when foreclosures were still through the roof at that point in time. So this is an important perspective. Right now we're still low as compared to traditional numbers for foreclosures, and we're very low compared to the previous bust. But what needs to happen, unfortunately, is we need to get back to a point where we're getting to those normal foreclosure numbers. But eventually, like I said, it looks like banks are gearing up for 2023 to start to get ready for a wave of foreclosures. But another important point related to this is they may just, because they have the runway and because they don't want to be caught off guard like last time, they may be over preparing for 2023. So this may fizzle and there may never be a big wave, but we'll see what happens and we'll continue to track the data. Make sure you come back here. Every 2 weeks we do our market updates, and then the foreclosure data, we wait and do that once a month when we have the previous month's data. So there you have the numbers. Are you as surprised as I am to see the increases that we're seeing in the notices of default, as well as the tightening in the housing market we're seeing again in the housing market 2021 in Southern California? It's very hard to believe, but that's why every 2 weeks you need to tune in to continue to track the market. Make sure you leave your comments below. I want to know what you're seeing out there. Sellers, where are you? Are you ready to hit the market? And buyers, are you fed up? Are you done? Leave a comment below so that we know what you're doing. Don't forget to subscribe to our email newsletter and reach out to us. You can call or email or text any real estate questions you may have. This has been Christian Walsh, real estate agent with Wire Associates, and we appreciate you.